You are not free. You are not loved. You are useful. Every breath you've taken as a man has been bent toward a single illusion that you are the master of your life, the head of your home, the king of your destiny. But the truth is sharper, colder, and harder to swallow. You have been conditioned, trained, and broken into service. You believe you rule, but you serve. Your 9 to 5, your sleepless nights, your blood spilled in wars and in factories. Not for you, not for your dreams, but for her comfort, her security, her endless demands. Esther Vilar saw it. She wrote The Forbidden Gospel of Male Slavery, a book so controversial that women tried to bury it, so dangerous it was mocked, banned, and spat upon. Why? Because it exposed the secret contract no man dares admit, that the strong sex is nothing more than the workhorse of the weak. Think of your father, your grandfather, every man before you, how they broke their bodies to keep a woman safe, how they sacrificed freedom for approval, how they called it love while chains tightened around their neck. Look closer. The modern man is no different. The faces have changed, the game has not. He swipes, he pays, he bends, he begs, just to feel her warmth for a night. He mortgages his soul for her ring, signs away half his life in a marriage contract he cannot escape, while courts, laws, and culture stand ready to gut him the moment she grows bored. And when she does, and she will, he will be discarded like a broken tool. Yet he smiles. He calls himself lucky. He calls this slavery love. Tell me, brother, what kind of man builds his own cage and thanks his master for the privilege? You've been lied to. Every textbook, every Hollywood romance, every sweet promise whispered in the dark, a script designed to keep you obedient. And now the mask rips off. The truth Vilar wrote 50 years ago still rots beneath the surface, a truth every man feels but few dare speak. You are not the oppressor, you are the oppressed, and the hands around your throat wear painted nails. Today we tear the veil. Today we step into the darkness women never wanted you to see. The question is simple. When you see the cage for what it is, will you stay inside? You were born into a script, a story whispered into your ears before you could speak. Men are strong. Men are providers. Men protect. Men sacrifice. And you believed it. You still do. From the cradle, women and the world conspired to make you proud of your chains, to make you carry them like a badge of honor, to convince you that your slavery is strength. Esther Vilar dared to say it. Men are not the masters of women. They are the pets, the workhorses, the disposable soldiers. Look at the illusion. Society tells you, you are the head of the household. But who spends every hour of his life grinding at work to keep the lights on? Who dies younger, crushed by stress, heart disease, overwork, suicide? Who breaks his back in silence while she decides how his money is spent? Society tells you you have sexual freedom, but who chases, who pays, who bends his schedule, his dreams, his will, all for a crumb of affection? And who withholds, teases, rations intimacy like a drug dealer feeding an addict? Society tells you men are powerful. Then why does the modern man need a lawyer to see his own children? Why does he hand over half his wealth in divorce courts while she walks away untouched, untouchable? This is not power, this is theater, a cruel illusion painted across your eyes. You think you lead, but you dance, and she plays the music. Carl Jung called it the anima, the feminine ghost inside every man. Not a woman, but a projection, an illusion you build, then worship. She is not who you think she is. She is only the mirror of your hunger. That's why men fall so hard. That's why rejection feels like death. You're not losing her. You're losing the dream you built around her face. And the tragedy, you never saw her at all. You only saw the cage you wanted to live in. This is the first trap. Not her body, not her words, but the illusion that you are the one in control. Truth bomb. You are the worker bee. She is the queen, and your life is the hive she lives in. But here's the poison no one admits. She didn't build the hive. You did. You built it with your labor, with your devotion, with your desperate need to be wanted, and you'll keep building until you collapse, unless you wake up. The illusion has one purpose: to keep you proud of your slavery, to keep you smiling in your cage, to keep you thanking her while she tightens the chains. This is not love. This is programming, and you have been obedient since birth. She never needed muscle. She never needed armies. She never needed the sword. Her weapon was silence. Her weapon was softness. Her weapon was you. Esther Vilar exposed the secret. Women control men not with violence, but with absence. When you please her, she smiles. When you resist, she withdraws. When you disobey, she starves you. Not of food, not of shelter, but of the one thing you've been programmed to need more than air: her approval. This is the subtle whip. She doesn't strike you. She lets you strike yourself. Think about it. You hand her your paycheck, not because she forced you, but because you want her to stay. You buy her gifts, not because she demanded it, but because you fear the coldness in her eyes if you don't. You bend your will, your schedule, your dreams, all to keep the illusion of her love alive. Truth bomb. She doesn't have to control you. She only has to control your access to intimacy. Look at the modern world. Instagram is the new whip. She posts a picture. Thousands of men crawl in her comments, begging, praising, competing, free attention, free validation, and none of them realize they're dancing for a woman who doesn't even know their names. Only fans. She takes your money, your desire, your time, and gives you nothing but a digital smile. You pay her to pretend, and you still call yourself the strong sex. Even in marriage, the whip cracks quietly. A headache, a cold shoulder, a simple "not tonight." You beg, you negotiate, you apologize for the crime of being a man with needs. And here's the brutal truth. She knows exactly what she's doing. Esther Vilar wrote it plain. Women understand the male weakness better than men understand themselves. They know you will work yourself into an early grave for one kiss. They know you will give up freedom, money, power for the chance to be touched. They know you will spend your life on your knees just to avoid her silence. This is not love. This is management. You are livestock, and the leash is invisible. Society won't admit this. They call it romance, chivalry, partnership. But look closely. It's a performance where you bleed and she applauds. Freud was right. Desire is the tyrant of man. But Vilar showed us the truth Freud never said out loud, that women have weaponized that desire. They don't have to fight you. They only have to make you fight yourself. And the worst part? You love the whip. You crave it, because without it, you are alone. She doesn't need chains. You forged them yourself every time you begged for her love. They told you men rule the world, that you are privileged, that you are the oppressor. Look around. Do you feel powerful? Do you feel powerful in the cubicle, working 80 hours a week for a boss who hates you, so your wife can redecorate the living room? Do you feel powerful standing on the battlefield, a gun in your hand, while the generals sip wine 1,000 miles away, and she waits safely at home? Do you feel powerful when a court orders you to hand over your children, your house, half your paycheck, to the very woman who left you? Where is this male privilege? Show me. Point to it, because I see only graves. The graves of men who dug coal until their lungs turned black. The graves of men who built bridges, towers, and roads and fell from the scaffolds to their deaths. The graves of men who drowned on ships, burned in mines, bled out in trenches. And still, they tell you that you hold the power. No, you hold the burden. You hold the responsibility. You are the pack mule of civilization. She, meanwhile, is preserved, kept safe, protected by the very men who are told they are her masters. Do you see it yet? This is not privilege. This is servitude dressed up as pride. Machiavelli wrote, "Fortune is a woman, and she is won by the bold." But boldness here does not mean courage. It means dominance. It means control. And the bitter truth is this: the so-called weaker sex controls by never lifting a finger. Esther Vilar stripped the mask away. She said, "Men are the true working class. Men are the ones exploited, used, discarded, and the illusion of patriarchy is the cruelest joke ever played, because the slaves truly believe they are free." Think about this. Men die younger. Men dominate suicide statistics. Men fill the prisons, the morgues, the war memorials. And yet every institution whispers, "You are the privileged one." It's gaslighting on a civilizational scale, and you swallowed it whole. The so-called power you cling to, the paycheck, the title, the respect, was never yours. It was a contract signed in blood. You bleed, she benefits. The bitterest truth. Most men accept it. They smile through their suffering. They wear their slavery like a crown, because it is easier to believe you are a king in chains than to admit you are a slave who built his own prison. Here is the cruelest truth of all. You don't just accept your slavery, you defend it, you cling to it, you love it. Why? Because the cage feels safe. The modern man is terrified of freedom. Freedom means standing alone. Freedom means no one to cook your meals, no one to warm your bed, no one to stroke your ego and whisper that you matter. So you accept the whip, you smile through the collar, you trade your life for the illusion of love. Esther Vilar wrote it plain. Men don't want to be free. They want to be needed. Even if being needed means being used. Look at your life. You wake up every morning to a job you hate. You drag yourself through traffic, through fluorescent lights, through endless hours, just to provide. Not for you, not for your dreams, but for her. For children you barely see, for a mortgage you'll never escape. And when your body begins to break, when your hair falls, when your energy burns out, she will look at you with eyes colder than ice. Not because she is cruel, but because your usefulness has ended. Yet you will still love her, still beg for her approval, still call her your queen. Truth bomb. Most men would rather die a useful slave than live a dangerous free man. Nietzsche saw it coming. He called it the herd instinct, the cowardly need for safety, for belonging, for comfort. Men wrap their chains in velvet and call them virtue. They bow and call it love. They suffer and call it honor. The herd whispers, "Be a good man. Provide, protect, sacrifice," and you obey. Because you are terrified of being the wolf outside the herd, terrified of being untamed, terrified of the silence that comes when no woman smiles at you. But here's the poison. That smile is not love. It is payment. It is the approval of a master pleased with her servant. And still, you beg for it. This is why you will work yourself into an early grave. This is why you will defend the very system that devours you. Because the chains comfort you. Because the prison feels like home. Esther Vilar called it out, and the world tried to silence her for it. But the truth remains. You are not chained by her. You are chained by your own fear of being free. What happens when the slave breaks his chains? When the dog refuses to heel? When the man says no? The world turns on him. Society has no place for free men, only for obedient ones. Say you don't want marriage. Say you won't sacrifice your life for a woman's comfort. Say you won't play the provider, the protector, the disposable worker. Immediately, you're branded. Selfish, immature, misogynist, not a real man. Do you feel that? The shame, the exile, the isolation, that's the price of waking up. Esther Vilar paid it. When she released The Manipulated Man in 1971, feminists rioted. Talk shows silenced her. She received death threats, public humiliation, global scorn, not because she was wrong, but because she was too right, because she tore away the mask and exposed the quiet empire women had built on male obedience. Her words were a mirror, and the world shattered it. The same happens today. Men who resist are ridiculed, dismissed as incels, red-pilled extremists, failures, not because they are weak, but because they refuse to keep playing the role. Do you see the trick? The cage isn't locked. The door has always been open. But the moment you step out, the mob turns against you. They need you in chains. Because without your labor, your sacrifice, your blind devotion, the entire system collapses. Think of the Gulag. Men who resisted authority were beaten, broken, executed. But women learned survival through compliance, through subtle manipulation, through bending without breaking. The psychology of survival is the same in our modern world. She bends, you break. And if you stop breaking, you become the enemy. Truth bomb. The one who sees the strings of the puppet master is always the first to be silenced. Ask yourself this: why are men who work themselves to death praised as heroes, but men who walk away condemned as cowards? Why does society worship sacrifice but crucify freedom? Because sacrifice feeds the machine, freedom starves it. This is the price of waking up. You lose her smile, you lose their approval, you lose the comfort of belonging, but in that loss, something darker, purer, and far more dangerous is born. A man unchained, a man untamed, a man they cannot use. Now you know. The illusion is shattered. The mask is gone. The cage is in front of you. The question is not whether you are a slave. You are. The question is, will you stay one? Esther Vilar wrote a book they tried to bury. A book that exposed women not as powerless but as masters of invisible chains. They mocked her, they silenced her, they tried to erase her, but her words still bleed. And now they burn inside you. What will you do with them? Will you keep working until your back breaks, begging for scraps of intimacy, clinging to the approval of a woman who will never see you as more than useful? Or will you rise? Will you tear the leash from your neck and live a life where no woman, no system, no illusion holds your soul hostage? Freedom is brutal. Freedom is lonely. Freedom will make the world call you names, spit on you, exile you. But freedom is the only path where a man becomes dangerous, where a man becomes untouchable, where a man becomes truly alive. Jung said, integrate your shadow. Nietzsche said, become who you are. Vilar said, stop letting women enslave you. The message is the same. Stop worshipping illusions. Stop kneeling. Stop bleeding for a smile. You have two choices: stay in the comfort of chains, or burn the cage to the ground. And if you've made it this far, I know which one you're leaning toward. So here's your call. If you want more forbidden truths like this, truths they don't want men to hear, hit subscribe right now. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to know if you think Esther Vilar was a prophet or a heretic. Share this video with a brother who's still asleep, because once he hears this, he won't look at women or himself the same way again. This is Echoes of Wisdom, and this is your wake-up call. The book was buried, but now the fire spreads. The only question is, will it burn you awake?